gonna stop. To the top, to the top. Ain't never gonna stop. Never gonna keep me down. Still the one that's standing now. Destiny is calling me. Go down in history. Every day I fight to be legendary. Fly high, or will I fall? Legends made when faith is strong. No time to play. I'm conquering. Push through the pain of
That's not how I connect sinister.
people wanna turn and run, but the strong rise under the gun. Top to the top, ain't never gonna stop. To the top, to the top, ain't never gonna stop. Never gonna keep me down. Still the one that's standing now. Destiny is calling me. Go down in history. Every day I fight to be. Every day I fight to be. Wings are made to fly, made to fly. Fears are born to die, born to die. Pushing through the pain, through the pain. Pushing through, breaking through, whatever it takes, what I gotta do. Giving my all, giving all that I got. Never will stop till I get to the top. To the top, ain't never gonna stop. To the top, to the top, ain't never gonna stop. Never gonna keep me down. Still the one that's standing now. Destiny is calling me. Go down in history. Every day I fight to be. Never gonna keep me down. Still the one that's standing now. Destiny is calling me. Go down in If you smell what the Rock is cooking. The Rock says, the Rock says, the Rock says, the Rock. I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me. You got your rules and your religion, all designed to keep you safe. But when rules start getting broken, you start questioning your faith. I have a voice that is my savior, hates to love and loves to hate. I have a voice that has the knowledge and the power to your fate. I hear voices crying, I see heroes dying, I taste blood that's trying, I feel tension rising. I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me, they talk to me, they tell me things that I will do, they show me things I'll do to you, they talk to me.
Hello and welcome to the WWE Wrestling Talk Show, where we select Jones and
Sean Randy Smith as we bring you the pre-show to WWE Payback.
yes, just 1 week removed from SummerSlam, WWE are bringing us another pay-per-view in Payback. Hopefully this doesn't turn into WWE giving us weekly pay-per-views.
As it will be coming at you from the Amway Center, otherwise known as the Thunderdome in Orlando, Florida.
As with every show for the next 2 months, at least.
As announced on August 17th, it'll be for the foreseeable future.
So we have 7 matches in total to get through. These
One was
matches
added recently.
are a mixture of storylines that were being set up and filled with on the approach to SummerSlam, some of which are a continuation of feuds after SummerSlam.
Yes.
But the first official match we got was that Bayley and Sasha Banks would be defending the Women's Tag Team Championships. However, it did not become clear who their opponents would be until this past Monday's episode of Raw.
No. And this past episode of Raw gave us a new women's tag team, so we think.
Well,
Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax.
yes, 2 women who have been at each other's throats pretty much since Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler both popped back up on Raw, will now tag together in an attempt to dethrone the Golden Role Models. Now,
Or as being Reese The Rock called them, the 2-woman power trip.
well, we can't really call them that anymore.
No, considering recent events. But
Yeah.
either way,
Now, Sasha Banks has already lost the Raw Women's Championship, and now she has to look at Bayley with her 2 belts again. But it did look, especially on SmackDown, that Sasha Banks is this far away from completely cracking.
yes, I've noticed that as well on this past week of episode of SmackDown.
So if Bayley and Banks lose this match, which is probably more likely than not they will,
Then this will happen.
then this should set up the eventual split even more between Bayley and Banks, which, if it wasn't for a certain pandemic, would probably have already happened, and the match we would have got at SummerSlam, considering that it was due to take place in Boston, probably would have been Bayley versus Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Yes, exactly right.
However, plans changed. Now,
They do.
Last week at SummerSlam, Apollo Crews retained the United States Championship against the leader of the Hurt Business, MVP, in which Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin were banned.
The then 24/7 champion.
Were banned from ringside. Now, Apollo Crews will defend against Bobby Lashley, who will be accompanied by MVP and Shelton Benjamin because they're not banned from ringside in this match. And Bobby Lashley looks to win the United States Championship for the first time in 14 years.
Yes, you heard us right. 14 years.
So at SummerSlam, as we move on to the next match,
Yes.
and Universal Championship back up.
And Spear, The Fiend, and Roman.
And like I said, the Fiend seems to be immune to pain. He does not seem to be immune to the spear.
No.
But this would lead to what has come up, which is a triple threat, no holds barred match for the Universal Championship, with the Fiend defending against Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. However, things became a little bit more interesting on last night's episode of SmackDown, when it was revealed that Roman Reigns is now a Paul Heyman guy.
Yes, you heard us right. Do not adjust your wherever you're listening to us on your device. Roman Reigns is now a Paul Heyman guy.
Yes, this is the same man who has gone to several different wars with Brock Lesnar.
I'm back.
And now he's advocating with his manager.
Yes, now we go on to this match.
Before we move on to the next match, people are probably going to dislike this video and kill me for this if they ever listen to it. But due to the fact that Roman Reigns was probably going to walk out of WrestleMania as Universal Champion had there not been a pandemic
of COVID-19.
I strongly believe that he will, unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately, it's unfortunate for a Fiend, but I think that Roman Reigns will walk out of this triple threat match as Universal Champion.
Yes.
And that becomes even more interesting with Paul Heyman at the side. Because of his new attitude. So far hasn't been the same old Roman as we got with John Cena for years.
True.
Now, our next match involves the attempted killer.
Me, pretty much.
Yes, after a...
debut
to say, after a very decent WWE Championship match with Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, Randy Orton decided to punt his head twice on Raw after McIntyre had offered a rematch. Then Orton decides to come out to the ring, only to be basked in the glory of the former NXT North American champion and NXT champion, Keith Lee.
Who debuted on Raw with new theme music, but let's not talk about that, because that's not the reason why.
And let's not talk about his attire either.
Probably.
But they had a fairly decent match, which was thrown out when McIntyre came back to the ring and brawled with Orton, only to be punted again later backstage. But that set up a rematch between Keith Lee and Randy Orton.
Yes.
Keith Lee, in my opinion, is money.
He is. Money and potential.
But we all know WWE's track record with superstars from NXT.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say it will bury Keith Lee if he loses to Randy Orton.
No.
But I think that he probably should win this match, unless to possibly get out of having either guy lose, they have a certain group of hooligans interfere in this match.
In retribution. Sorry, was that out loud?
Now, speaking of said group of hooligans,
oh yes,
they play a little bit of a factor as to why the next match is happening.
Between Dominic and Rey Mysterio against, he's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy, and his disciple, Murphy.
Yes, so this dates back to May, just after WrestleMania, really.
Yeah.
When Rey Mysterio had his eye pretty much destroyed. Then Dominic was introduced to the picture, and he had a very good performance against Seth Rollins last week at SummerSlam in his first wrestling match. Or at least his first wrestling match in the big leagues.
At least.
But came up on the losing end. The next night on Raw, in the main event, he would team up with his father, Rey Mysterio, to face Rollins and Murphy. Only for Retribution to get involved and ruin the match.
Pretty much, yeah. They stormed the ring and only attacked Rey Mysterio and Dominic. They did not go for Seth Rollins and Murphy.
So a rematch has been scheduled for tomorrow night. Will the Mysterio family finally get Payback on the Monday Night Messiah? See what I did? I was going to say, see what I did there. Ever since he came to the main roster, Matt Riddle seems to have had an issue with King Corbin, or rather King Corbin has an issue with Matt Riddle. We'll go one-on-one. And then finally, in a match which I don't think will be a bad match,
No, neither do I.
But a match which has no story behind it whatsoever.
Nope.
Big E will take on Sheamus.
Yeah, as a result of what happened on SmackDown, we reckon.
Well, that's the only reason it's happened. Now, it is possible they may delay this until the end of September, or dare I say, maybe further on, but highly unlikely. But due to Sami Zayn re-emerging on SmackDown, claiming that he is still the Intercontinental Champion, and Jeff Hardy being the recognized Intercontinental Champion, and AJ Styles bitching and moaning about the way that Jeff Hardy won the Intercontinental Championship from him, it is possible that they may add a triple threat, like who's the undisputed Intercontinental Champion situation. Or, like I said, they may leave that for a Clash of Champions.
Either way.
Right, yes. Confirmed, we have these 7 matches again.
So, start with.
Bayley and Sasha Banks will defend the Women's Tag Team Championships against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax.
Apollo Crews will defend the United States Championship against Bobby Lashley, being coming to the ring by MVP and Shelton Benjamin.
The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, will defend the Universal Championship in a no-holds-barred triple threat match against Roman Reigns, who will be accompanied by Paul Heyman, and Braun Strowman.
Keith Lee will try and make me bask in his glory.
The Mysterios of Dominic and Rey will take on the Monday Night Messiah and his disciple Murphy.
Matt Riddle will take on King Corbin.
And Big E will take on Sheamus.
So that about does it for the Payback pre-show.
Payback comes at us tomorrow night, August 30th, from the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida, or as WWE likes to promote it, the Thunderdome.
So, join us next week as we bring you our reactions to Payback.
Along with a show that must not be named.
Yes, we will not mention it, don't worry, legal team. So, until then, he's been
Lisa Rock Jones, and he's been
Sean Randy Smith, and we will see you next week. Payback is up. Didn't say it anyway, but even still.